A secant is a line that intersects a circle in exactly 2 points. So a secant is a line that cuts through your circle, and since it's a line, it's going to extend in both directions towards infinity. So a secant is not a segment. A secant is a line. So there are arrows at the end. It cuts through your circle in 2 places, but extends for forever out of the circle. So when we have secants that intersect either inside or outside of the circle, there's these angles that get formed, and they are related to the arcs. So the first situation is if we have 2 secants, or they can just be chords. So if we think of AC as a line, it would be a secant if it extends for forever. Or we could just think of this as chord AC, as this segment with the distinct endpoints. So if we have 2 chords or secants that intersect in the interior of the circle, so these 2 secants intersect somewhere inside of this circle, then the measure of one of these angles that gets formed by those 2 intersecting secants is equal to 1/2 of the sum of the measures of the arcs that are intercepted by the angle and its vertical angles. So all in all, that's like a lot of words, and it's really confusing. So if we have a circle and if we have 2 secants, and I'm looking for this angle, I have these 2 arcs that get intercepted by the secant. So the way I'd find the measure of this angle is I would add the measure of those 2 arcs and then divide by 2. You're finding half of the sum of those 2 arcs. Or if I was looking for this angle measure, I would add this arc and this arc, the opposite arc. Add those 2 arcs together and then divide their sum by 2. So in this example, the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of arc AB plus the measure of arc DC added together, and then half of that sum. The measure of angle 2 is the measure of arc BC plus the measure of arc AD divided by 2. So in this example, we want to find this angle X. So I'm going to add those 2 arcs, 47 plus 116, and then divide by 2, which is 163 divided by 2, which is 81.5. So X is equal to 81.5 degrees. In our second example, I have one of my arcs is 55 degrees and one of my arcs is 5x plus 15. So I'm going to add those 2 arcs together, 55 plus 5x plus 15. Add the 2 arcs together, divide it by 2, and then that's going to be equal to this angle, 60. So 55 plus 15 would be 70 plus 5x divided by 2 equals 60. So now my problem is I need to get rid of this 2 that's in my denominator, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And so they'll cancel out, so I'll get 70 plus 5x is equal to 120, and then just subtract 70 from both sides. I'll get 5x equals 50, and so x is 10.